Thanks for joining us for City Council Comments. I'm Steve Erickson along with Mayor Jerry Cook. Today we're talking about both our March 1st and our March 22nd City Council meeting. Thanks for coming in again today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Happy spring. We had a little layer of snow to greet us today.
It's spring, and the weather got nice and people go, yes. And you go, it's the middle of March.
I know.
We have a lot of snow ahead of us yet, I'm sure.
We got like our 2 little days of like spring there over the weekend, and now it's like back to reality. But I guess you forget. We also usually get those March tournament snows, which we haven't had recently. So we could still be in for a plowable event, right?
It's whatever it is. I've got stuff to do if it's nice out or if it's not. I've always got things to do. So
it's just nice when the sun is shining. The temp doesn't always matter. When that sun's out, it feels a lot better.
Yep.
So we had our second meeting of the month actually a week later than normal this month.
Yeah, so there was a lot of things that lined up. Normally we would meet the third Tuesday of the month, and but it was spring break, and it was the National League of Cities meetings in Washington, D.C. that often many of us will attend. Yeah. So we just backed it up a week.
All right. Well, it's complete now, so we'll jump in and talk about our second meeting of the month, which was Tuesday, March 22nd. One of the first items there, we had a couple different appointments to 2 of our commissions.
So we had a couple vacancies on our Safety Commission that we filled, and 2 on our Parks Commission that we filled. And I should have pulled those up, right?
It's all right.
Yeah.
We'll look right here.
All right.
So this is Safety Commission. These are our volunteer commissions.
Correct.
Correct. Our residents serve on, and I'm always looking for new people on those, right?
That's right. And we are professionals, so let's see here.
There we
go. Kenneth Uko.
Yep.
And again, I'm not sure phonetically how that, how close that is. Kenneth, and then David Blinkow. Again, I think that's probably how it's said. Yep. Those are the 2 newest appointments to the Safety Commission. Yep. And then we had 2 new appointments to the Parks Commission.
One of those was familiar.
So one was Kelsey, and I think maybe Brodt, B-R-O-D-T. And then the other one was kind of a blast from the past. Our former Ward 3 council member Wade Demmer is new to the Parks Commission. So that'll be kind of a new shot of energy there for those folks.
Yeah, so it's always good to see people stepping up and volunteering for these commissions. As we always mention, if anybody is interested, there's usually some vacancies ongoing that need to be filled. So fill out an application online or at City Hall, and then I think you can still rank which commissions you're interested in serving on, and then they'll reach out if there are some openings.
Right. If you go through the city clerk's office, it's an application. It has all the commissions listed. Yeah. You rank them in priority, what you're interested in, and you can ask them where there are vacancies, because there's almost always some vacancies somewhere, like the Historical Commission, the Arts Commission, and I shouldn't have started, but we have a lot of commissions.
A lot of volunteers that do good work for the city.
We really count on a lot of volunteers to keep the city going well.
Yeah. All right. Council conducted a public hearing. This is for a purchase of a budgeted unmanned aerial system. This is also known as a drone, correct?
Correct. Several years ago, we purchased our first, let's just call it a drone.
Yeah.
And it's been very useful. We have 8 officers trained in its use. It's spent a lot of time in training. It spent some time in the field working, but it was a very kind of a limited function. And the new one that we need, a lot of times if you're doing man searches, if you've got somebody that bolted through the woods, you need the heat sensor. The new one has the heat sensor, and it has different camera views, and it's got a lot better battery. It's winter. If you're out in below 0, those batteries go out quickly.
Right.
It's $32,000. However, the money was already budgeted, but because of the purchase, we had to have a public hearing to allow the public to come in and talk about it if they had any concerns. There was a lot of conversation about it. They don't use this for fishing.
Right.
They don't use this for spying on people. It's got some very valuable functions, search and rescue. It's got some very useful functions, and that's what they're going to use it for.
All right. And the folks that are using it, I think they said there's 8 or 7 members of the department somewhere in that area.
It said 8 in our notes somewhere.
Okay,
But
8 members that are actually trained. You need to be trained. You need to be licensed to fly these things. And they usually work in a team of at least 2 people. So one person is operating the controls and someone has a visual on the drone, at least during the day. Not sure what they do at night. I would think the same would hold true. Maybe it has some lights or something.
Yeah. Well, and it's, and they're talking about, it evolving into, if we end up having to execute a search warrant, to be able to send a drone in there rather than people is safer for everybody.
Yeah.
The inside the house and outside of the house.
Yeah.
So it should be a very good tool.
All right. Moving forward, Council considered a resolution awarding contracts for Fire Station 3. This is an exciting project. I feel like we've been talking about it for a while now, and this is a significant step forward in this project.
This is a significant step forward, and if you would have seen the packet of things to sign last night, it was, because every function within this, from the low voltage wiring to the cement work there must be 50 different contractors that are all doing their own specialty within this station. But a big step forward last night. We accepted the bids, signed all the contracts, hired the management team. We've been working closely with Kinghorn Construction and I believe it's CNH
I can look for
Architects. So the architect firm was picked at the beginning of the process because they've had a lot of experience doing other fire stations and other municipalities. And then we started working with Kinghorn Construction because we have a very good working relationship with them. They've done many projects for us in the city, and that just appeared to be the best way to bring this home, to get a quality project for the best price. And to that end, I'm not sure if you found the architect yet or not.
I didn't. I looked in both. Oh, CNH Architects.
It was
okay.
CNH Architects, who've they've been excellent to work with on this whole thing, visiting other facilities, really listening to what our fire department needs, and being open to Kinghorn. When you hire them you bring them in as a management team early. They're able to say, that's a great idea, but if we do it this way, it'll save us some money. We'll still have the function, but it'll save us some money. So it's nice bringing them in early. And it was interesting because when we first started talking about this, they said it's probably going to be about $15 million. Well, then what happened through the pandemic. Materials became so scarce, labor became so hard to come by. Everybody was busy. All the numbers were going crazy. The final numbers came in just below $15 million total. So it was very happy. We were very excited with where everything is at.
Yeah, certainly with where this climate's at with building materials and all of that.
Yeah. The bids came in at like 13.3, but then you've got to add your contingency and your management fee and all. But so we're like 14,882,000 or something. That's pretty dang close to 15 million.
Yeah, which is no small chunk of change, but certainly for a fire station of this size and what's needed these days and the training that'll be in it and all of that. Great deal for the fire department. And if you don't know already, we've talked about this before, but Fire Station 3 is kind of off of 113th hit its useful life, and now it's going to relocate basically on the old Cook Ice Arena site. I'm not sure how long we'll say that. But right across from Anoka Ramsey Community College on 111th?
111th Avenue. It'll face
Mississippi.
111th Avenue. Yep, and Mississippi Boulevard. All right. It's going to be a very attractive building. It's going to have a lot of function. It's going to provide a lot of safety tools for our fire crews. It's going to have some regional training capabilities. It's very cool. And they're building the roof out of cement.
For?
Fireworks. Because that was the first obstacle they had to get by as they wanted to build it, where we launched the fireworks. And if it takes so long to find a safe place to fire off the fireworks that Coon Rapids launches, And so they figured out a way to blow it off the roof of the fire station by building a hardened roof, cement roof. And it's going to make the fireworks even better because all of the low stuff, instead of starting at the ground, I was going to start, 30 feet in the air or however high that is. Yeah. It's going to be amazing.
At least there's water nearby when they're launching the fireworks, so that's good.
Yeah, and it's a brick building. We shouldn't be burning it down. So
that's also good. So maybe, groundbreaking is this spring. I think they originally said about 14 months construction or 15.
I think so.
So they're going to be right up to that July 4th, 2023. So do we think they might possibly do the fireworks off the roof in 2023?
Well, you would think they would be close enough at that point, but unless they require
where they have the building.
The occupation.
Occupancy.
Occupancy.
Yeah.
Certificate of occupancy.
All right.
Unless they require something like that, they might be ready by then.
Stay tuned for that. Maybe 2023. So the building should be done summer 2023. It sounds like. Whether the fireworks happens off the roof that year is a question. Yeah. If not, by 2024.
Yeah. And this year we're just going to be working around the building from the same lot. Yeah. And to that end, we have $54,000 worth of fireworks ordered for this year.
Wow. So they'll be here before you know it. We're talking just a couple months away now.
Yep.
All right. Well, stay tuned. We'll have more on that here in the coming months. Moving forward, council consider adoption of ordinance rezoning property. This is for Vista Outdoor at 3745 Main Street. And this is also known as
federal cartridge, federal premium. Yeah, I thought you were going to say the place you look at the deer.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, because this is where everybody, if you come down Round Lake Boulevard on the west side of Riverdale Mall or the Riverdale.
Yep.
You'll see the area behind the fence with all the little buildings over there and lots of deer.
Okay.
So we rezoned that to industrial, which really matches what it really is. It's an industrial complex. But now we needed to do the zoning so that they could build a warehouse. Right now, if you drive by there on top of the, other than the deer, you'll see about 100 semi-trailers all parked out there in rows used for storage. They need warehouse space. Yeah. So they're building and now I've forgotten how big the building is, but what our function was, we needed to rezone it to industrial so that they could build a warehouse. So that's what we've done, and then they're working with the planning commission for approval on their warehouse building.
All right, there's about 110,000 square foot.
There you go.
Building.
Yeah, and that's phase one. I believe then they're going to add a second, an addition to that one.
Okay. Always nice to see the businesses expanding here in the city.
Well, yeah, and it's an exciting year to be happening too. They've got a lot of things going on. This is their 100th anniversary. Yeah. The company's actually been there more than 100 years, but Federal has owned them for 100 years now. Okay. And then also they were just in the news. They donated 1 million rounds of ammo to the Ukraine army. Yeah. So I would like to have seen them fill the Fleet Farm shelves, but no, I'm kidding.
Well, it's good that they're
purpose.
Here.
Good purpose.
They're definitely helping out.
Yeah. They're very good neighbors, and we're very happy. They're primarily in Anoka, but they're in Anoka and Coon Rapids, and they always involve us anytime they're making a decision. So.
Yeah, I was going to say part of that property is Coon Rapids, and part of it is Anoka.
Right.
Okay. Council approved a resolution, or considered a resolution approving a final plat. This is for Pheasant Hollow at 12031 Partridge Street. Some new homes are going to go into this. It's a cul-de-sac, correct?
Yeah, so it's a cul-de-sac they're adding. Right now it's just a street stub that ends. They're adding a cul-de-sac. And it's a 40-acre parcel that has very little building sites on it. So they're building 4 homes right around the cul-de-sac, and that pretty much is the only buildable section of the 40 acres. Okay. And then this kind of got tied up for a little while because there will be a trail that's been planned to go west through there and around those homes and end up on Main Street, along Coon Creek there. Mm-hmm. And so there was some controversy, litigation about that, and that's been all resolved. And so this was their final approval now.
Okay. So a couple new homes going in.
4 new homes.
4, you said?
4.
Okay. All right. Moving forward, council considered the 2022 redistricting. This has been in the news a lot in the past couple months. Redistricting maps coming out based on the 2020 census, and we're having to make some adjustments to our ward boundaries, correct?
Right. So the city charter requires that each ward or each ward be within 5% of each other for population. And any of our district lines or any of our ward lines have to follow the Senate district or the state lines, basically the state boundaries. Well, they finally sent them to us. There wasn't a challenge there. Most of our lines already lined up with theirs. However, Ward 2 had slightly too much population in it compared to Ward 5. So all we did, we looked at hours and hours and all kinds of different possible scenarios, and ended up just going back to the first one, which was just bumping Ward 5 up into Ward 2. It'll just grab a few little blocks up there on Northdale and Olive. And that one little adjustment, then we don't have to move any of the polling places.
Yeah.
There's no other big changes. So that's what we did. Move that one little line up there by Northdale. So the only ones impacted by this are just those homes right on the north side of Northdale, like going west from Shortstop. Okay. And then it just kind of circles around off of Olive and grabs some of those homes over by Redwood.
Okay. So is it like 100 or something? I know what the number is, but it's something.
I don't remember.
In that area.
Yeah.
It's a
small
amount of folks. I assume they'll be notified, or
yeah,
they will have a new polling location, correct?
So they'll go to a different polling position because that'll move them into a different precinct, and they'll all get postcards.
Yeah.
What's going on?
So that's really the biggest change. I mean, you're represented still by a ward council member. Those folks will have a different representative.
Yep.
But of course, still always the mayor and large member, right?
Yep. Yeah, they're stuck with me and Pat.
no matter what. All right. That's all we had to talk about on our March 22nd City Council meeting. We'll jump back to our first meeting of the month, which actually happened to be on March 1st. One of the first items there we wanted to talk about was council approving nominations. This is for the Coon Creek Watershed District Board of Managers.
Yeah, so we'd been putting out a plea asking for folks to step up, and they stepped up. We ended up with 5 of our residents filled out applications to be considered for the Coon Creek Watershed Board of Managers. And so with this, we basically reviewed the applications, and at this meeting, we put them forward as a recommendation to the board, to the Anoka County Board. The appointments are up to the Anoka County Board. All we can do is make a recommendation. But we were very thankful for the 5 residents that stepped up and went through the process, and it's up to the county. And I'm a little embarrassed to say that I don't know if they've made their decision yet.
Okay, but they should sometime soon. And the biggest issue for Coon Rapids seems to be we don't have a representative on this, and we're one of the bigger parts of this watershed district.
We're the largest community involved, and we don't have any representation on there.
Yeah, so the hope is that one of these residents will be selected.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll find out soon, hopefully. All right, moving forward, council considered a resolution awarding a contract. This is for an overlay project at 105th Avenue and Hanson Boulevard area.
Yeah. We have found these to be a great value, and we've talked about these before. I mean, the first time that I recall us doing this, during my tenure anyway, was Xavier Street. And it was inexpensive. It was like $150,000 to redo all of Xavier Street with a mill and overlay. And it was like a new street. We've done Avocet up through the Wexford area, and it's just a very good value for us. It really extends the life of the street for very little cost as compared to a reconstructed street. And the areas that we're doing are Hanson Boulevard from basically just off of Coon Rapids Boulevard down to Mississippi Boulevard.
Yep.
And then we're doing 105th Avenue from Hanson Boulevard over to Xavier Street. So that's kind of a major street for feeding into Riverview, over into the Riverview Park, which also includes Cardinal Little League. Yeah. So it's a fairly well-used road. So both of those will be a mill and overlay. I don't recall what the number was, but it was, I thought it was like 200,000 or 230 or something.
You sound in the ballpark there.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't looked at it since that March 1st meeting. I just
273. Does
273.
Yeah, from North Valley Inc.
Okay.
So they were awarded the contract.
But still, it's going to make it like a new road, and it's going to extend the life. We're going to get so much more use out of the road for it's a very good value as you compare it to a full reconstruction.
All right, and that work will start in May, it looks like here, and take a little bit to complete.
Yeah, which I think opening day is April 30th. That was one of the dates I was concerned about, because when they have opening day down at the Cardinal Little League, the streets are lined up everywhere with cars because everybody comes at the same time.
Right.
So it sounds like it'll be starting after that. That's good.
Yes. All right, moving forward, Council adopted new water utility rates for this year, and this is the first increase in about 6 years to water rates.
Yeah, and the last time we did it, it was discussing the tiers. It was discussing all kinds of things in the pricing model, and this one wasn't. This is just a 5% increase, and if you know how much chemicals have gone up, it's just all those supply chain issues. They've taken the cost of chemicals for treating the water and it like threefold or fourfold for cost. So when I saw it was a 5%, I thought this is very reasonable, and the council fully supported it. Nobody likes to see anybody's bills go up, but you can't run it at a loss either.
Right, and it's a self-sustaining fund, the water utility fund. So basically a 10-cent increase per 1,000 gallons is what it works out to. So, and then the service charge per account per quarter goes up 75 cents. So, like I said, we haven't changed those in 6 years. So, it was likely due. Yeah, just like everything else.
Yeah, it's really hard to push back when you go 6 years without an increase. Yeah, it's and knowing everything has gone up. Yeah. 5% seemed reasonable.
And needing to balance the fund. All right, Council received the 2021 Community Development Annual Report. This is a document full of information that comes out each year.
It is, and I encourage folks to go onto the website and look at it. It gives you a pretty comprehensive look at what's been going on in Coon Rapids for community development. It features a lot of the new buildings, a lot of the work that's gone up at Riverdale. It breaks down into, gives you an idea of what people have been doing in their own homes. It gives you building permits and construction costs, and it's a very comprehensive document. And I think it gives you an appreciation of how much work our staff does. Because every one of those projects requires a lot of back and forth between the builders and the developers and the staff to figure things out and inspect, and it's a lot of stuff. And I think it's really encouraging for folks to look in there and see all of the new money being invested in Coon Rapids.
All right, so check that out.
Absolutely.
Before we go, we also wanted to mention tax statements. Folks should be getting those. They may have already or within the next week or two. Those are being mailed by the county. They'll have your amounts due for this year, your May and October payments. There's an important piece of paper in that mailing that talks about your house value, correct? Right.
And everybody, unless you've had your head in the sand, knows the property values are going up and have gone up. And this year, Coon Rapids recognized an almost 20% increase in the price of residential properties. So if you haven't been paying attention, you might be a little shocked when you open it up and see that your home just went from 300 to 360 or whatever, or 340, whatever 20% looks like there. 360. That's right, it's the first time.
You had it right.
Yeah, I doubted myself there for a second. But it's important to know a couple things. And one is, if you think that they are misvaluing your home, which is, when you have over 20,000 properties that you value, it's entirely possible that they made a mistake. But if you think there's an error in the value, check with our assessors department, and they're happy to come out and talk to you about it and go through it and either justify it or correct it. And the other thing is, just because you see your property taxes go up 20% doesn't mean, just because your value goes up 20% doesn't mean your property taxes are going to go up 20%, because that old a rising tide raises all ships. the levy is just still this amount,
Yeah.
and it's still divided by this number of parcels. So even though your value went up, that doesn't mean your property taxes are going up.
Yes.
To equal it, the same amount.
It's an important thing. But some of those pieces of the pie shift. I know
Yeah.
some of the commercial values are shifting to some of the residential, so there likely will be an increase. How much, yet to be determined.
Well, right, and it's right, and the property taxes are collected on all properties.
Yes.
But we've got over 20,000 residential and less than 500 industrial commercial.
Yeah.
So it's still, the residential is still carrying the burden.
Yeah.
You can look and say, well, the largest two taxpayers we have in town are Riverdale and Riverdale.
Yeah.
Those are our largest two taxpayers.
Yeah.
But compared to 20,000 residentials, they're, all of a sudden it becomes less consequential.
Yeah, and we've been adding some new residential. We have Port Riverwalk over there and all that, so that eventually gets added to the tax base.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And the final point on that takeaway is if you think your value is not correct, first check with our assessor's office, and then if you are not satisfied with the response you get or that value, you are able to appeal that value to the Board of Equalization.
Board of Appeal and Equalization.
Yeah, okay. Which is basically the council.
Yes.
And that meeting is on April 26th.
Yep.
Tuesday, April 26th.
Yep.
So that's where you come. If you have not been able to resolve an issue with the assessor's office, and I implore you to start there.
Yeah.
But then you can still appeal it on the 26th.
Okay.
Yeah. So don't wait until this fall, because later is when you're gonna find out how much you're paying because of your new value.
Values are set by then. You can't change values.
Right,
so
right.
this is the time if you have a
The value that you're looking at right now that's what your 2023 property taxes
will be based
on.
Yeah.
So by the time you get that notification that this is how much your taxes are, it's too late to contest your value.
Yeah.
Now is the time to contest value if it truly is not right.
All right. Again, like I said, start with the city assessor's office. Give them a call. You can find out more or how to contact them online. And then if you're not able to get a response that you like there, you certainly can come to the Board of Appeal and Equalization. That is on Tuesday, April 26th at 7 p.m. in the City Council chambers.
Yep. Yeah. They're very professional and they're great to work with.
Yeah.
I went through this process with my own home quite a while back, and no, very well.
All right. That's all we have. I think we're out of time.
Okay.
Appreciate you coming in today and talking to us. Thank you at home for watching, and we'll see you back here again after our 2 meetings in April.